Hello there. Today I'll be showcasing some object show fan art I've drawn. I'll start with the more recent drawings and work my way backwards. First, we have some random characters from a bunch of shows I like. We have Geary from Moss, Shot Put from Animated Inanimate Battle, Magazine from One, Dirt Pile from Object Filler Again, Pixel Origin from Super Dumb Joke Show, and Dango from Open Source Objects. They were chosen randomly, but I still enjoyed drawing them. I tried to make the faces and limbs of each character look like their respective shows, but not with Dango because Open Source Objects doesn't really have a single style it follows. Next is a take on the evil versions of characters cliche that popped up around 2012, but a little more thought out. Introducing Evil Guy, an evil version of Guy from OFA who's enough of a delinquent to smoke and flip sentient coins. Speaking of OFA, here's a drawing of the entire cast from memory, sans the logo in the bottom left. You may notice that a few characters have asterisks next to them, and that's because I feel like I didn't do them justice. Thus, I redrew Kids Bop 8, my favorite contestant, Windowy 2.0, and my profile picture. This next drawing's the oldest, being made back in 2018, the cast of BFB drawn from memory. Obviously not to scale, but I'd say I did pretty well with some doodles in the back of a math notebook. Team Ice Cube was drawn first, and I worked my way down to Iance over the course of the week. Here's each team individually. Keep in mind this was drawn between BFB 12 and 13, so that's why Team Pop looked so split. I tried to give a better name than that a bit of a story, with basketball broadcasting the number 8 onto TV, embarrassing 8-baller making Robot Flower think he's in love with her. Next there's free food, then the losers. If you're wondering about that wall near Penn, I turned a failed drawing into some graffiti he drew. Next is a very off-model version of Beep, and lastly Iance. Bubble's supposed to be making that weird smile from the FDI. This last drawing is actually quite recent, drawn around the same time as the random characters. The reason it's at the end is because it's the only one I bothered to color, though ironically, the drawing is a cast of a joke show I came up with. There's 25 contestants, and I have a vague idea of what their personalities would be. Strawberry Milk is obsessed with aesthetics and was made to poke fun at TikTok. Mr. Pog likes to cheer people on, sometimes to their annoyance. He'd be animated similarly to Flower from BFDI, where his body's a stick figure but his head's an asset. Gag likes running. Miiverse is kinda like Casper the Friendly Ghost, though he does demonstrate quite a few of the tendencies that the real Miiverse was known for. Straight Pride Flag's a stickler that not a lot of people like. Swing sets like a group of little kids. Innocent, but not annoying. I don't know how exactly Bin Garbage would act, but I will say that he has his own little army of raccoons living inside his lid. Buzzy only has one arm and acts similar to Barfbag from BFB. Nice to everyone, but generally not appreciated for it. Cueball's not very smart. That's about all I have for him so far. Natsu's always down on his luck, but his head's far enough in the clouds for him to persevere. He was based on a Japanese comedian named Nasubi, hence the name. Cloggy's usually in a bad mood and is kind of a loner. He still has a few friends, though. Snake is nice despite her appearance, and does the same thing as Belle's String does in BFB. The full length of her body is never seen, just her head. Though if you're wondering what she's connected to, it's just one of those spinning containers that plumber snakes have. Everyone thinks Small Bean is cute, but he just wants to be taken seriously. As such, he doesn't really like to talk to anyone. Tumbler Cake should be self-explanatory if you know anything about regular cake. Since it's a joke show, I had to include 8-Ball, of course, so here he is. OCE has so many things to make him stick out from other characters that nobody knows what object he's supposed to be. He's good friends with Miiverse. Let's just leave it at that. Since I originally drew these in a sketchbook, the rest of the characters are on a separate page. Vigilantillion is an entire army in scientific notation. The one with the hat is the general, and the only one of them who usually speaks. They're capable of converting to standard notation, resulting in an absurdly large number of zeros appearing. They still count as one character, however. Bubbly Cloud is absent-minded and has a very bizarre accent, replacing most vowel sounds with oi and switching which consonants are voiced. She'd be subtitled, to say the least. I don't know what Tintype, Bassoon, or Shape's personalities would be yet. Espresso is always depressed. Crowbar would act something like a journalist/news reporter with a mid-Atlantic accent, also known as the old radio voice. His mustache would move in lieu of having a visible mouth. Nanobot's the opposite of Small Bean. No one ever notices him, and he wishes they would. Lastly, Kyoko Kirigami is Kyoko Kirigiri, but made of multiple sheets of folded paper. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I came up with the host a while after I came up with the contestants. Planchette, who wouldn't have any limbs and would move and act very creepy.
I think it would talk like this.
If you watched this far, thanks. I guess that's the other reason I put the joke show characters at the end. If you want a better look at these pictures, there's some albums in the description. Thanks for watching, and have a day. They're capable of converting to standard notation, residing in an absurdly... oh my god.